Have you ever really thought about what happens between that first little puff of smoke and a full-blown fire alarm going off? It's not just a single gadget on the ceiling. It's actually a whole team of different components, all working together perfectly. So today, we're going to break down exactly how a fire safety system goes from just a hint of danger to a massive, life-saving alert. All right, so let's set the scene. Imagine a bit of faulty wiring starts to smolder, or maybe a pan in a kitchen gets way too hot. A fire is starting. What actually happens in those first, super critical seconds? Well, it's a race against time, and this is where the system we're talking about really kicks into gear. You see, every single fire safety system has to have a nerve center, right? A central command that's in charge of the whole operation. This is the system's brain, and it's probably the most important piece of the entire puzzle. And here it is. This is the control panel. Just think of this box as the general in command. It's not out there looking for the fire itself, but it gets all the incoming signals from every single detector in the building. It processes that info in a split second and then makes that all-important decision to sound the alarm. Now, the real magic of this panel is just how flexible it is. It can manage anywhere from 4 to 16 different zones, and a zone is basically just a specific area, like the east wing or the third floor. Each of those zones can handle up to 32 detectors, all hooked up with a really simple 2-wire system. So when an alarm does go off, the panel doesn't just scream fire, it tells you exactly which zone the fire is in, which, as you can imagine, is absolutely critical for first responders. Okay, so if the panel is the brain, what are the system's eyes and nose? Well, that's where our automatic sentinels come into play. These are the devices that are right there on the front line, constantly checking the air for smoke and feeling for heat. We've got two main players on the team here. Over on the left, that's the optical smoke detector. It's designed to literally see smoke particles floating in the air. And on the right, we have the heat detector, which, you guessed it, senses a really fast spike in temperature. They might look kind of similar, but what they do is totally different. And this is exactly why you need both types. I mean, think about it. You would not want to put a smoke detector in a steamy kitchen or a boiler room, right? All the steam and fumes would just cause false alarms constantly. For those high heat, high fume areas, a heat detector is perfect. But in an office or a hotel where a smoldering fire might create a ton of smoke before it gets super hot, that's where the optical smoke detector is your best friend. It is all about using the right tool for the specific job. But hang on, what if a person actually spots the fire before any of the automatic detectors do? Well, the system has a plan for that too. It relies on the fastest, most advanced detector of all, the human eye. This is the manual call point. I'm sure you've seen these on walls everywhere. This is your direct line to the system's brain, letting you say, hey, I see a fire. Sound the alarm and do it now. There's no waiting, no second guessing. It's a manual override that triggers an immediate building-wide response. And using it couldn't be simpler. You see a fire, you press the centerpiece. That's it. A signal is shot straight to the control panel. And what's really cool about this design is that it doesn't break. After everything is safe, it can just be reset with a special tool so it's ready to go again. All right, so a signal has reached the brain, either from a detector or a manual call point. The panel has processed it. Now for the most important part, letting everyone in the building know that it's time to get out and get out safely. This little guy is the sounder beacon. It's the system's voice and its light all in one. It lets out a really loud alarm to cut through any background noise, but just as important, it has a visual alert. It uses these super bright LEDs to create a flashing light that you can see even if a room is completely filled with thick black smoke. Here's a tricky situation for you. Let's say you have a smoke detector tucked away in a spot that's hard to see, like maybe above a ceiling tile or inside a tiny storage closet. The detector goes off, but when firefighters show up, how do they know exactly where that alarm is coming from?
Well, that is where the remote indicator comes in. The big sounder beacon on the left is for mass notification. It's for shouting, "Everybody get out!" But this smaller device, the remote indicator, is all about pinpointing a specific location. You put it somewhere visible, like right outside that closet door. So when the hidden detector inside goes off, this indicator lights up like a bright red flag, basically telling firefighters, hey, the source of the alarm is right in here. It's such a simple but brilliant solution to a really serious problem.
Okay, so we've met all the key players on the team. Now let's put it all together and watch how they create this seamless, life-saving chain of events from the very beginning to the very end. It all starts right here. Step 1 is detection.
A smoke or a heat detector, one that's been perfectly chosen for that specific room, senses the very first signs of danger, and a silent electronic signal is born.
That signal then instantly zips through the wiring to the command center. And the beauty of this kind of system is its simplicity. That two-wire connection creates a direct, super reliable line from the frontline sentinel straight to the brain.
And that brings us to step 2, processing. The control panel gets the signal, and here's the key. It doesn't just react blindly. It identifies the exact zone that the signal came from and lights up that indicator, giving you immediate intelligence about the situation.
So now that the threat has been processed and located, the brain sends out its own powerful command, activating every single alert device that's hooked up to the system. And finally, we have step 3, notification. The control panel triggers the sounders and the beacons. That silent electronic signal has now been transformed into this powerful, impossible-to-miss warning of sound and light, telling everyone to evacuate to safety. This really just says it all, doesn't it? It's not about any one device being the hero. It's about how they all work together as a team. From that one little detector's signal to a massive building-wide alert, every single component plays a crucial role. It's that teamwork that creates a real, cohesive safety system. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Understanding how all these pieces fit together shows us that a really well-designed system plans for all the different possibilities: smoky fires, hot fires, hidden dangers, even just a person spotting trouble. So the question to ask yourself is your fire safety system truly ready for every single scenario?